Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Okay, today we'll start with the next class of HR analytics. I hope till now everything is clear. Okay. So, my dear students, let us go with HR measurement journey in tune with HR maturity journey. Okay. So here we'll be looking into the lean system, lean organization system, right? So here when we speak about HR measurement model, okay, or HR measurement journey, it speaks in terms of efficiency, effectiveness, and outcome. Okay. Now when I say efficiency, it is nothing but the volume, cost, and time. Okay. Volume of what? Volume of total hired, total compensation paid to the new hires, total premiums absorbed, total trained, okay, as well as total voluntary turnover index. So here it speaks about hiring, compensation, relation, industrial relation, developing the competencies, as well as retaining the best employees in the organization, right? So here the total hired, the quality should be good, not the quantity. The compensation paid, there should be a competitive compensation paid. Industrial relation, grievance should be very less, and if they are there, immediate solving of the grievances should take place, right? Grievance should not be carried forward. Developing, you need to develop the competencies year on year. There should be addition in the competencies of the employees, okay? And total voluntary turnover, the index, voluntary turnover index should be very low, okay? So if this is there, then I can say that yes, HR department is efficient enough. Okay. Now when we speak about cost, okay, very important factor when it comes to human resource department, right? So cost per hire, you should have the apt cost per hire, right? You should pay best salary as well as benefit as per employee, as well as see to it that the ROI, return on investment, also is there from the employee side, right? Then when it comes to grievances, litigation cost per employee, you try to reduce the grievances so that too much of cost spending on litigations, spending on court hearings and all those things do go off. Okay. Then afterwards, developing cost per train, you should see to it that how much you have spent on the training of the employees, you get back that much productivity from the employees or more productivity from the employees. Then cost of turnover, see probably if you hire a particular person and immediately that person leaves the organization after getting training and all, whatever you have spent on the training would entirely go off, right? So you should see to it that employees are retained for a longer period of time so that whatever training or whatever you have spent on them, you get back that, as well as see to it that those employees become one with the organization and give better productivity. Okay, so when we see to it that you minimize the cost, okay, that shows the efficiency of the HR department. The same way in time to hire, right? You should have minimal time to hire and hire the best quality candidates in required quantity. And compensation, time to process the payments, right? The compensation salary should be paid on time. Okay, benefits should be received on time by the employees and give the right pay to the right employee. Very important. Then relation, time to handle the grievance should be very, very short, right? First of all, you should see to it that grievances do not arise. If they arise also, you should see to it that immediately it is being resolved. Okay. Then developing, training hours per employee, how much of hours you are spending, man hours you are spending on training. Okay. So that is actually the loss for productivity. So you should see to it that you balance both production as well as training. Okay. Then turnover by services, right? So you should see to it that people retire from your organization and then go. Okay, you should see to it that people stay for a longer time in your organization, right? That is what proves the efficiency of the HR department. So if you want to measure the efficiency of HR department, you should measure in these three dimensions, that is volume, cost, and time. Now other three dimensions are quality, right? Very important. If you want to measure effectiveness, efficiency and effectiveness, my dear students, I hope in MOB as well as in HRM, you have already seen what is the difference between efficiency and effectiveness, right? So here when we speak about effectiveness, right? So it speaks about the quality of the HR department or the quality of the people in the HR department. Now, when we speak about one particular dimension, quality here, it speaks about quality of the functions of HR department. So when we speak the first function, hiring. Okay, so new hire retention index, you should see to it that you select quality hires. That means you select the employees who would stay for a longer time within the organization. That's the reason, my dear students, whenever you go for an interview in an organization, or whenever you post your resume to the organization after finding the vacancy, organization will check your work history first, right, as well as your education history. So if there is a gap in education as well as if there is a gap in work, that becomes a question mark for you, right? So there should not be any gap. That is what many of the employers prefer. Okay, so why that particular gap in work is being seen, or maybe how long do you stay in a particular job, that is being first seen by any employer. Why? To see to it that whether you will stay in the organization for a longer period of time, or will you leave the organization immediately after 1 year, 2 year, whatever it is. So if you have a work history where you are only working for 2 years in an organization, then shift to next organization, work for 2 years, then shift to next organization, work for 2 years. If that history is there, probably you will not be hired in any organization. So if you should stay for a longer time within a particular organization. Somewhere, if you are leaving the organization, one organization, probably, for example, if I have worked for in one organization for 5 years and then next organization for 1 year and then left and joined another organization, and I have worked for 4 years, that has a valid reason. Why you have worked 1 year, you can clearly specify that. Okay, but every organization you have a history that you only work for 1 year, 2 year and then leave, probably that shows that you are not a stable person. Okay, so hiring you becomes a question mark. Okay, so these are all the things which the HR sees while hiring a candidate. So when you speak about the quality of hiring, you should see to it that you hire such people who stay in an organization for a longer period of time. That's what we say new hire retention index. Okay, as well as you should see to it that the employee who is hired, the candidate who is hired within the organization, has a better environment within the organization, right? It is not only that you hire the right person, you should see to it that you retain the right person. Probably you have hired the right person, but what about the retention of that particular person? You should provide a very good congenial environment, a comfortable environment to that particular candidate, so that candidate gels up with the organization and starts working towards the mission, vision or objectives of the organization, right? So these are the two things which the HR has to keep in mind, right? Then coming on to next, compensation, error-free payment, very, very important. There should not be any errors. Frequently, if you have errors in payment, probably the employee has worked for entire month and you are cutting down the payment for 2-3 days, saying that he was absent, and then the employee has to come and prove that he is not absent. Okay, if you do not have proper record maintaining in the HR department, so that becomes a big problem for the HR department. So it shows that the functions or HR department is not effective enough, or the employees in the HR department are not effective enough. So error-free payment should be made. There should not be even a single error in salary payment and salary disbursement, as well as see to it that right person gets the right salary. There should not be any partiality or whatever it is, or you should not, the HR department should not fail in judging the employees rightly. Okay, performance of the employees rightly, right? Then comes down the next relation, litigation reduction index. You should see to it that if you are working very effectively, if the HR department is very effective, then the number of grievances do come down. Okay, if HR department is not effective, then there will be many grievances which will be held up. Okay, so the litigations or grievances, if it is reduced, then you can say that HR is effective, right? Then developing a competency index, right? So you should see to it that you develop the competencies of the employees. The growth rate should be visible. Okay, then you can say that HR department is effective, right? Then turnover by services, right? So you provide better services to the employees so that the turnover also comes down, right? Am I audible now, students?
Employees.
Retaining turnover by services. Effectiveness, am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now coming on to next, user satisfaction. Okay. So here when we speak about user satisfaction, we speak about performance index. Okay. So HR department effectiveness can be proved when employees are performing well and the performance index is high. Okay. Coming on to next, compensation, right? Salary and benefit satisfaction index. So here when the salary and benefits are given to the right employee and employees are satisfied with the salary and benefits which are being given, okay, so that time we can say that HR department is effectiveness. That means it is measuring the performance of the employees in a right way and giving salary to the right employee. Coming on to next, relation employee satisfaction index. If employees are really satisfied within the organization, if there is person job fit and person organization fit, if that is achieved by HR department, then we can say that HR department is effective, right? Then succession readiness index, right? So HR department has to see to it that it develops the career of the employees and it develops the succession planning of the organization. So there should not be any vacancy left too much, there should not be any gap between filling the vacancy. Immediately you need to have a successor who would fill the vacancy within the organization. If that is achieved by the HR department, then it is effective. Then turnover reasons, understand why the employees are leaving the organization. What is the turnover, right? If it is very low also, still people are leaving the organization. Why they are leaving the organization? Is there something which is messy within the organization? Try to sort out that particular issue and see to it that the turnover ratio is very low, right? Then afterwards, coming on to next, the outcome. As I said, HR measurement model, efficiency, effectiveness, and the result, that is outcome. So outcome, ROI, when you are hiring function of HR department, there should be proper return on investment. That means how much you have invested on hiring the employee, training the employee, introducing the employee to the organization, that is induction and orientation. Okay, all that cost is calculated and see to it that you get the returns on that. Okay. Then compensation, how much salary and benefits you are paying to the employees and how much you are going to get back from them in terms of services and productivity. Then afterwards, when it comes to relation, return on investment, see to it that the expenses on grievances, litigation, court cases, everything is just cut off and there are happy employees in the organization who are productive enough. Okay, so that would be the return on investment for relations. Then developing, right? See to it that the employee, there is growth for the employees within the organization. With the employee growing within the organization also grows and set a best benchmark within the industry, right? Then retaining, right? ROI, return on investment, when you are retaining your employees for a longer period of time, 100% your ROI will be achieved. Okay, so if all the ROIs are achieved in these functions of HR, I can say that yes, the HR is giving positive outcome. Okay, and it is efficient and effective enough. I hope the HR measurement model is understood by you all, right? Now coming on to next, the HR measurement journey in tune with HR maturity journey, right? So in 1987, a research team from MIT, International Motor Vehicle Program, studying the Toyota production system, coined the term lean to describe the system as one of the needs less of everything to design and produce products economically at a lower volume with fewer errors. Understand, my dear students, Toyota production system introduced the term lean. Okay, now what is that particular lean? It describes the system of lean. What is that system? Less of everything to design, needs less of everything to design and produce product. That means cost is very less. Okay, economically at a lower volume with fewer errors. Errors also are less. So later in the book, in their book, The Machine That Changed the World, Womack and Jones in 1991 defined lean as a way to do more with less. Understand? The way to do more with less. Okay, so less human efforts, less equipments, less time and less space, right? while coming closer to providing customers with exactly what they want, right? So when we speak about lean organization system, it is nothing but it describes a business or the business unit that holistically applies lean principles. That means to the whole business, it applies the lean principles to the way it plans, prioritizes, manages, and measures work. So everything is customer oriented. Then there are two fundamental concepts of lean. First concept is eliminating anything that does not add value to the customer, right? And then work systematically and continuously to create more value for the customer. So please understand the two fundamental concepts here. Eliminating everything or anything that does not add value to the customer, right? So you are just taking off the work which is not required. Okay, you're eliminating the steps, you're eliminating the work, you're eliminating the processes that do not add value to the customers, right? And then you plan the work properly, you systematize, you prioritize the work, and you continuously start creating more value for the customer. So main focus of lean organization system is customer satisfaction. Now key principles of lean system, one is build quality in. So it focuses more on quality. So here lean organizations set themselves up for sustainable growth by building quality into process and documentation. So there is quality into process, production process, as well as documentation of that particular process. So they automatize, standardize, and by any tedious, repeatable processes or any processes prone to human error, okay, which allows them to error-proof significant portions of their value stream. So they see to it that they have the record of each and every process, they document each and every process, and see to it that human errors are avoided and focus more on the processes where it is prone for the human to do the error. See to it that they go for tedious and repeated tasks and train the employees in such a way that human error is avoided. And you have error-proof significant portions of their value streams, right? Then deliver fast. In lean flow, refer to manner by which work moves through your organization system. So everything is planned in such a neat way that the flow is very steady, consistent, okay, and it delivers the value which is required to the customers. While the bad flow, which describes a system or with unpredictable delivery or unsustainable habits, are also being avoided. Okay, so that's what we could say lean. Apart from that, you have defer commitment. So this lean principle says lean system should function as the UST in time systems, waiting until the last responsible moment to make decisions and deliver work. So here, too much of commitment will be there, as well as see to it that the commitment is dispersed in such a way that you make proper decisions and deliver the right work in right time. Respect people, okay. So here, lean systems are designed to maximize customer value. Okay, as I said, the focus is more on customer satisfaction. So here they try to maximize customer value while minimizing the waste, as well as see to it that employees are also respected, encouraged, and employees motivate the employees, and see to it that you give proper training, reduce the errors, and give the best pay to them. So that's what we say, respect people. So these are the few characteristics of lean system. Coming down to HRA framework, right? So here, current approaches to meeting HR and reporting value system from HR contributions. One is traditional versus contemporary HR measures. So here, measures individual behavior, trait or reaction, and statistical summaries. Okay. So when we speak about HRA framework, individual behavior, traits or reaction, it measures more of group behavior. So here, top management, customers, applicants, trainees, all these reactions are being measured. Okay, what individuals have learned, how their behavior has changed on the job, everything will be identified when it comes to measuring the individual behavior, traits and reactions, right? Then when it comes to statistical summaries, it speaks about individual measures, right? Includes various ratios, for example, accident frequency, severity ratios and everything, right? Now here I'm speaking about HR ratios, not financial ratios, right? Now, percentages, for example, labor turnover, absenteeism rate, all these percentages are calculated. Then measure of central tendency and variability, like mean and standard deviation of performance measures, such as bank teller shortages, surpluses, etc. Right? Measures of correlation, validity coefficient for staffing programs, measures of association between employee satisfaction and turnover. All these areas are calculated through few statistical tools. Okay. So this is how the HR framework is calculated. So 4 levels of sophistication in HR analytics. Okay. So HR analytics is basically fact-based decision making. So in the section that follows, we describe 4 levels of sophistication used by Google People Analytics Group. So this is one of the analytics group being created by Google, which is called as Google People Analytics Group. So what they do? They go in for counting. Counting what? All relevant data about the workforce are tracked, organized, and accessible. Relevant data about the workforce, right? So training provided to the workforce, production given by the workforce, right? Career development of the workforce, right? Succession planning of the workforce, right? As well as errors being made by the workforce. Everything is counted, calculated, tracked, organized, and it is accessible to each and every employee in the organization. Then clever counting. So extrapolating from descriptive data yields new insights. So for example, consider workforce planning. Okay. Understand the workforce in a proper way, understand the competencies of the workforce in a proper way, place the right person in the right place at the right time. That is nothing but clever counting. Identify the right people, see to it that there is no ideal time in the organization. So you should have a proper workforce planning to utilize the people whenever it is required. Then insights, what drivers of the trends do you find through clever counting, right? So when you have clever counting, you identify or you understand the insights of the organizations as to what would be the capacity of the employees, what is the planned capacity, everything you have the insights, right? Then influence, results of counting, clever counting and insights can help make a difference. So at this level, relevant questions as to how can we shape outcomes rather than that USD measure them. So you should understand in the influence, what you understand is the weakness of the employees, right? Whatever is the present capacity and what exactly you are getting. Okay, identify the gap, understand what is the difference, and then try to counsel them, try to give them training. With that, you start influencing them, motivating them to work better. So each higher level requires mastery of a lower level. So all these steps are interconnected with each other. So that's what a Google People Analytics Group do. Okay. Then fundamental analytic concepts from statistical and research, fundamental analytics concepts from economics and finance. So this is what exactly we'll be looking into the next slides. So when we speak about fundamental analytical concepts from statistics, okay. So here efficiency of HRM, the example to measure the efficiency of HRM, cost per hire, time to fill, as I say, I have shown you already the table, right? Ratio of HR staff to total employees, right? Primary appeal here is explicit cost. So value calculation, logic of cost saving is easy to relate to accounting standardization, makes benchmarking comparison easier. So you try to benchmark here the staff, HR staff ratio to the total employees, right? Cost per hire, time to fill, training cost, the other ratios will be calculated here related to HR, and then you start benchmarking. Tough question here is, wouldn't outsourcing cut cost even more? Do these cost saving come at the price of workforce value? Why should our cost be the same as the other industries? Okay. So these are various tough questions which do come in when we go in for measurement approach. Okay. To measure the basic duties of HR, functions of the HR department. Then HR activity and best practice index. So here human capital benchmarking, human capital index, all these are taken. So HR practices basically are associated with familiar financial outcomes. So what they do is they identify the functions of the HR and they connect it to the financial outcomes and try to analyze, right? So that would be the primary appeal which has been given here for fundamental analytics. Then data from many organizations lend credibility, suggest that there may be practices or combinations that generally raise profit, salary, sales, etc. The tough question would be here, what is the logic connecting these activities with such huge financial effects, right? So will the practices that worked in other organizations necessarily work in ours? Does having these practices mean they are implemented well? All these are tough questions which has to be answered to identify whether the fundamental analytic concepts are proved positive when it comes to statistical calculations, right? So that's all for today, my dear students. So the next part of this particular HR measurement approach we'll be seeing in the next class, right? So if you have any doubts, you can message me on my WhatsApp number. I'll be clarifying your doubts. Once again, I'll tell you, students, please do not miss the classes, right? And if you have any doubts, clarify it immediately. Don't keep it till the end. When the examination comes, that time I'll come and clarify it. No, you have to clarify it now, because this is a subject which would be helpful for you right now when it comes to your examination, as well when it comes to your future, right? When it comes to your career, this subject is really very helpful. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.